Good afternoon, Club 17. Welcome, Rotarians and guests. And thank you as you obliged us where we had a little technical difficulty, so we're starting a bit late, but we will be on time. We will pick up the pace. We will begin with the playing of America the Beautiful by Tom White, followed by the invocation and four-way test with Steve Dreyfel.
Thanks, President Melinda. Let's bow our heads. Almighty Father, above, this is a prayer of thankfulness. We thank you for the opportunity to be here today and to enjoy a wonderful meal with our friends and fellow Rotarians. We are thankful for the dedicated staff here at the Hilton who have prepared and served us such a fine meal. We thank you for small businesses such as Junk King that exist to make our life easier while working to recycle as much of the items they collect as possible, leading to a greener environment for all. We thank you for this time of year when joy, thanksgiving, generosity, and service should be top of mind. Many of us will reminisce about our childhood and the thrill of opening presents. Thank you for those memories. As we enjoy our holidays, let us not forget those who are struggling, those who are in the need of the basic necessities of life, those who are serving our country around the world and will not be home with their families. We give thanks for all the blessings you have bestowed on each of us, including the opportunity to serve you as well as our fellow man, and ask that you guide us so that we do not let the hustle and bustle of this time of year detract from what the holiday season is truly about, and that is to put service above self. Amen. Amen. And now please join me in reciting the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
You may be seated. Next, we will have seats. Our prospective members, visitors, and guests will be introduced by Bill Stilley, followed by a presentation of our meeting sponsor, Lauber and Will Insurance. Bill?
Thank you, President Melinda, and welcome to Cincinnati Rotary Club 17, the 17th oldest Rotary Club in the known universe, and also one of the largest clubs in the country, and also the nicest club, the most active club, and the most beneficial. I'd like to welcome guests and potential members, and as I announce your name, if you would, please stand up so that we might recognize you. First off, I'd like to introduce our speaker for the day, Jack Brendamour. Welcome, Jack. And it's really terrific because, along with Jack, he brought his father, Mike Brendamour, who is a former Rotarian. Mike, where are you? Also with Junk King is Jason Lefker and Julie Heil. Welcome to Rotary. Angela Crawford is a guest of Judy Pogue from Thomas More University. Brian Sand is a guest of Rick Flynn. He's with Warehouse Collaborative. Jenny Sand, also a guest of Rick Flynn. Jenny. John Doherty, a guest of Tracy McGuire with Trust Services. Maren Bain is with the Fifth Third Bank and a guest of Jim Crowley. Michelle Perkinson, also a guest of Rick Flynn, is with Perkinson Legal. Mike, how quickly you've changed. Tara Stapleton is a guest of Melinda Kelly. She's with 3CDC. And our sponsor's wife, Katie McCann. A guest also of Melinda Kelly is Michelle Technow. And soon not to be a guest or prospective member anymore, as he's already gone through classification, Mario Dominguez. Welcome to Club 17.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to start out by saying that it is an honor and a privilege to not only sponsor this meeting, but also to be part of such a great organization as the Rotary. We are Loberwell Insurance, and we are an independent insurance agency on the west side of town. We have 8 insurance advisors. 3 of us are currently Rotarians, myself, Bob Will, and his daughter, Christina Will. We're working on the other 5. At Loberwell Insurance, we focus on all aspects of insurance. We do home and auto, business, and life and health, and we help guide our clients to make informed decisions on their insurance needs. At Loberwell Insurance, also, this is our 90th year as being Loberwell Insurance. And something else that's really neat, I think it's pretty cool, my lovely wife, Katie, who is our guest here today, is the 4th generation at our agency. So I just wanted to say thank you again for letting us be a sponsor, and I'm looking forward to today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sponsoring our meeting today, John, and thank you. We're glad to have your wife with us here today as well. We have some additional announcements. We have some birthdays this week. Richard Lejeunesse, December 7th, December 8th. Bill Shula. Bill, are you here? December 11th, Josh Ruth. December 12th, we have 3 Rotarians celebrating birthdays: Barry Evans, Melody Wheel, and Fred Okoti. On December 13th, we have Dan Riccardi. So let's give them a round of applause and hope that they're having a great birthday. And we'll have on their birthday. Next, we'll move to Split the Pot. Hope you got a chance to participate. The rolling pot is $46. And the accumulating pot today is $1,039. So get out your tickets. Everyone is able to participate in the rolling pot drawing, and for the accumulating pot, Club 17 members are eligible. So we will ask Jack if he would pull the winning ticket.
Sure. It's 2886 are the last 4.
Say it one more time.
837-2886. Back here.
Who was that?
Newest member, I think.
Oh. Mario? I'm sorry? He's been through classification. Okay, yeah. 8 of diamonds. Wow. So close, Mario. Not that close. Thank you all for participating. So that means the pot goes up next week. So we have one more week for Split the Pot. Before we move further, we have one guest also that we'd like to recognize. If you would please stand, Debbie Shep. She's from Thomas More University. Welcome, Debbie. Thank you for being with us today. Dues billing January through June. You should have received your dues invoice by now. If you haven't, please see Christy, and she will take care of that immediately. We look forward to your continued membership. We have a lot of new, exciting things coming up in the spring. Our membership chair has been working very diligently. Director Deanne. Deanne, would you wave your hand? Deanne's been doing a lot behind the scenes. Thank you, Deanne. Our membership chairs have also been meeting and collaborating together. You will see some upcoming projects where you will see committee chairpersons working together. And I know this is lunchtime, but would all committee chairs please stand? They've been doing a lot of work pulling our committees together. All committee chairs, please stand. Woo-hoo. We have our Rotary Foundation of Cincinnati end-of-year ask. It's called the Cincinnati Gives. So most of you will receive or have received in the past years an invitation to give to the end of year any of the projects that we have and sponsor. Well, this year, the Rotary Foundation of Cincinnati is doing something just a little different. We did it a couple years ago, called Cincinnati Gives. The campaign ends today. If you have been looking at your e-rays and seeing our announcements that have been on the web, on our Facebook page as such, you may have already contributed. If not, please do so. Today is the last day, and I do have one more contribution to make myself, so please don't let the day pass by. If you need to stay here a few minutes after our meeting to make your contribution, you can do that. We'll be glad to help you. So we use these monies, of course, to help children and adults with disabilities. So the serious part of it, these monies, as you saw a few weeks ago, we presented 3 different organizations with checks for $40,000 each. So these monies go to help families and children with disabilities. So please make your donations if you choose to. Again, this Cincinnati Gives campaign ends today. An evening with Richter and Phillips, hosted by Women in Rotary. We had a great event last evening with Women in Rotary at the Pig Candy Barbecue on Kellogg Avenue. That was a great event last evening. If there are any women who attended last evening, please stand. Please stand. It was a great event. And let's give them a round of applause. We had one of our newer members, Amanda Forsey, planned that event, and she did an excellent job. This particular event upcoming, it's an invitation for us to be able to visit the vault at Richter and Phillips Jewelers. So if there are any of you who would like to invite your spouse to attend, you're welcome. Men or women, all are welcome. We will enjoy light bites, drinks, and fellowship, and that's going to be on Thursday, February 3rd, right around Valentine's Day. So from 5:30 to 7:30, you can choose some unique gifts that you might like. You can, give a budget or whatever, and you can come or, invite your spouse to spend that time with us. This event, again, has also been sponsored by Women in Rotary with Amanda Forsey, one of our newer members, younger members, put this together. And if you attend, your name will be placed in a drawing for $200. For a Richter and Phillips Jewelers gift card. So that drawing will take place at 6:15, and again, the event is from 5:30 to 7:30 on February 3rd. Rotary International Convention. The last 2 conventions we have had to attend virtually, And the last one was very good. The workshop sessions were great. How they had the programs organized was very excellent, and you could go back if you missed one. You could go back and view it later. You had a schedule to be able to see. However, this year, plans are well underway to have the convention in 2022 in person. And it's really great to attend an international convention. We've been to several of them in a couple countries, and it's very invigorating meeting other Rotarians from other clubs, other countries. And so if you're interested, there's an early bird registration that you can sign up for the conference, in which you will be able to have a huge discount. So December 15th is the latest date that you can register for the international convention and receive that discount. So if you're interested, the convention will be June 4th through the 8th in Houston, Texas. So it will be in the U.S. this year. If you're interested, make sure that you register so that you will be able to get the discount. You can register at rotary.org at that website. Let's congratulate Rotarian Galen Gordon on the birth of his new grandson. His new grandson is Asa Ali Hayward. He was born December 1st. So let's just, when we see Galen, congratulate him. And as we know, Galen is an employee of the Hilton, and he helps us in ways that we need as we utilize the Hilton's facility and continue to do that. Next week, our program will be Norwood High School's show choir, the Silhouettes. And they are a very well-recognized program, and we're looking forward to have them next week. And with that, we will move on to our program for today. We are very excited about our program for today, and Doug Bolton, our Rotary President, Club 17, President nominee, will introduce today's program. Doug?
Thank you, President Melinda. So you've already heard the connection to Mike. So I wrote about Mike a few years ago, just a few years ago, Mike, and I wrote about Jack's grandfather many, many years ago, and so it's a great privilege to be introducing. I'm no longer writing as much, but hopefully at some point in time I'll be able to write about our current Brendamour, who's our speaker today. I'm not going to steal his show. He's got a great presentation, but let's give a warm Rotary welcome to our newest Brendamour.
It's exciting to be here. I've heard so much about Rotary and been involved with a couple of the luncheons and things over the years with my family being involved, and just such a prestigious group. Reputation is undoubtedly a beautiful thing, especially in a city like Cincinnati. And so at some point, I'll probably join myself, but I have twin 2-year-olds and a 4-year-old at home, and running my business now, so not adding to the plate quite yet. But I appreciate you having me here. Doug, thank you for inviting me. It's very easy to talk about my company, Junk King, because of all the good we do for the community and the environment. It's energizing, and I know that a lot of you will take some really neat and interesting facts away with you in ways you can help our community just from the speech today. So I'll field some questions at the end here. There are some giveaways that we were going to set out on tables if you want them. Right outside the door there, it's a pen and pencil holder with coupons and koozies and things like that. But I appreciate your attention, and like I said, at the end there'll be time for some questions. Up here, you're going to have to keep rotating. Some of the picture slides are worth turning and looking at, but we're going to talk about a little bit about my family history, the Brendamour family history here in Cincinnati, Junk King, succession planning, you'll learn about what I went through a few years ago, and just some key takeaways with that, recycling, and then philanthropy. And so I'm the CEO and co-owner of Junk King Cincinnati, Dayton, Louisville, and we also have a 4th branch in Northern Kentucky in Covington, and eventually we'll probably head over to Lexington. So my wonderful administrative assistant, Julie, was introduced. She holds it together for me, and Jason, thank you for being here as well, and of course my dad for helping me my whole life. So here's the clicker. So the Brendamour family, we're the only Brendamour family that I know of in the United States. So if you know a Brendamour along the way, they're probably a cousin or uncle, brother. I'm one of 4 brothers. My younger brother Scott was part of Rotary for several years, and he just had a shift in careers where it doesn't make sense at the moment. But when I hop on board, I'll bring him along with me. So if you've met him, he's a really good person. But if you are from Cincinnati, if you've heard of Brendamour Sporting Goods, put your hand up. If it was where you went and got your first baseball glove, so you all just aged yourself, right? It's over the years, anytime I would talk to someone who grew up in the city before you could go into Amazon or go to Walmart to get things, they'd be Brendamour, and then think for a second, because there'd been a several decades gap probably between that conversation and their memory. But it was a sporting goods store that my great-grandfather started down on 5th Street, I believe. And it grew into a chain. My grandfather, Jack Brendamour, who I was named after, it grew into, I believe, almost 30 stores, and he got out of the business in the early 80s, I believe. And since then, Dick's Sporting Goods and Walmart and Amazon, I believe, ended up just taking things over, as everyone knows they did with so many companies. But my grandfather, I was just telling Doug yesterday when I was kind of preparing for this meeting, I was looking at my grandfather's obituary, and he was just involved in so many things. And so I tried to take a few key takeaways. He was a member of Rotary for, I believe, 50 years. And the Hyde Park Executive Center is one of the neat stories he had. And it's where kind of catty corner to where Rookwood Commons is off of Edward and Madison. The center there, he cleared the residential houses from that neighborhood. He actually moved 14 houses to Vernon Avenue down the street. And so he put these houses up on trailers and had to cut one in half to get it there and move the houses. So that's the entrepreneurial spirit that I've been blessed to be raised around, is just interesting and fun things like that. He was also one of 8 people on the steering committee to bring an NFL team to Cincinnati. And so he helped bring the Bengals here, so you can thank him for the misery we suffered over the years. But that's changing, right? You guys probably had some enjoyable years. It's been a rough go for most of my life. But and then Brendamour Mayflower, my father, Mike, started 40-something years ago. 1 truck's grown into a large operation. He retired in July, and that's where I worked for 7 years out of college. So I was kind of being groomed of 4 brothers. I was the one who had the not just skill set, but just mentality to potentially take over the business. And I was being groomed in ways, and I don't know what it was, but I was like, this isn't my story right now. And so put in my month's notice, had no idea what I was going to do, traveled to Italy with my wife because we knew we were going to want to have kids soon, and went on a bunch of vacations, hiked part of the Appalachian Trail with my younger brother Scott, who just graduated college. And then I met a gentleman named Pete McCreary. And if any of you know him, he was just one of the most wonderful individuals, all around, just great person, selling him something on Craigslist. Just I wasn't even really looking for anything. I got my real estate license, just had no idea what I was doing, kind of waiting to see what seemed like the right fit. And he pulled up in this beat-up pickup truck that said Junk King on it, and I'm just like, Junk King, what's that? And so we got to talking, and he had grown the business. He started in 2011. We met in 2015. And he had grown it to where he couldn't really handle it himself anymore. And he had a GM, but they were kind of not able to grow with the company. And so originally I thought it was luck, but once you hear more of our story, it was a bit divine intervention, I'd say. And so after 4 interviews, I walked away like, no, I don't want to go back into a small business. This isn't what I want to do. And Junk King, like, that sounds like I was embarrassed of the name at first. Now I hold so much pride in the company name. But I went to sleep on Saturday night after the last interview. He offered me a job again. I said, no, thank you. You seem wonderful. Let's stay in touch. Woke up Sunday morning. I didn't dream about anything. Didn't have an email typed up. Walked straight to my computer. I'm an early riser. It was probably 5 a.m. on Sunday. Typed like a 2-page email to Pete. And I think within 10 minutes, at 5:10 a.m. on Sunday morning, I heard a bang back. And Pete was like, I'm so excited. This is going to be a journey we're looking forward to together. So you'll hear about him coming up. I give speeches sometimes about succession planning and just contingency planning because I went through what no one really believes can happen to them, right? Pete, father of 4, 52 years old, bought a motorcycle, never would get on the highway, wore a full bodysuit, NASCAR type helmet, ended up having a kid pull out in front of him on a back road heading home to his house in Mason and instantly passed away. So I'm a young COO of a business that's growing leaps and bounds, and overnight we lost our leader. And he wasn't just a leader. I talked to him more than I did my wife. He was a mentor, a boss, a friend, just a great individual. And so it was Friday the 13th, actually, 2018. So overnight, in the busiest time of our year, we're a very cyclical business at Junk King. During the summer, we do probably, in those 3 months, we probably do 50% of our business all year. And I had two choices. One was I didn't need to go back in there. I would have been fine. But to walk back in that door the next morning and sit in a seat and start going through his emails. And so we got through it. If it wasn't the summer, I'm not sure we would have got through it. We had, when I came on board, we had 3 trucks and 8 employees. When he passed away in 2018, I think we had 19 employees and 7 trucks, and now we have 24 trucks and 70-something employees. So his motto, his vision has come to life. We really try and raise people up to not just be great employees and a good face of the brand, but also to just be good people and to bring the people up around them. So given the blue-collar type workforce we really have the best of the best in that sense, I believe, and we're trying to just train people to be good people like Pete. I say, what would Pete do? I wear a bracelet every day of my life that says WWPD on one side and faith, honesty, respect on the other. And we all know the difference between right and wrong. It's when you're faced with a decision where you're kind of back and forth, whether it be a minute, a week, a month, the second you think what Pete would do, you have the answer. So he would always do what was best, or whenever he could, what was best for the greater good. And so he's on the back of every truck. That bumper sticker I got made, we have 30 dumpsters as well, so 20-something trucks, 30 dumpsters around the city. He gets to go to every job forever. And whenever I talk about him, I like to ask all of you, if you have it in you, to whether it be today or tomorrow or next week, if you just do one little extra thing for someone to help out that you wouldn't have done had you not heard a little bit about Pete, that would be very meaningful to me. So here's our executive team at Junk King. It's a year where I've learned so much this year. I think this will be the most impactful year in my life professionally, just because the business was just growing so quickly. We're always trying to catch up the back end, and we finally brought on people with extensive experience. I like to say we grew out of the boys club in a lot of ways. Julie, my admin, brought so much experience, and Steve Jordan, our CFO, kind of helps keep me grounded in my youth. He's been the CFO for like 150 truck street sweeping operation out in Phoenix and has different clients. And then Jason, he's been through battle with me losing Pete. He's the only employee at Junk King longer than me, actually, our COO. Just positive mentality, just every day, no matter what. I don't think I could have done it without him. So I want to introduce him. And then Judy, Pete's wife, is co-owner of the business. Pete and her were 100% owner. And last year I became co-owner, and Judy's lives in Alaska now. You talk about where life takes you. She's in Anchorage, Alaska, working with her church camp up there for youth, and her kids moved up there with her. So that's our executive team. So our operations, if any of you haven't heard of Junk King by now, I'd be surprised. We're definitely out there advertising, but we're also so tied to the community in different ways. But the best part is now you'll see our trucks everywhere. You won't be able to miss them. They're big, bright red trucks. And we have our full service where we come out with 2 people, or if the situation calls for more, we'll come out for more with more. But we come out with 2 people, give a free estimate. If you're happy with our pricing, we haul away what you have right then, whether it's one item or 30 years worth of stuff. And then we have our dumpsters, which I think it's a little ironic to call them pretty, but I like to say they're pretty dumpsters. You don't mind them sitting in your neighbor's driveway when you're having company over. They're 12 cubic yards, polyfiber wheels that don't tear up driveways. They're good for projects like that. So you can save some money and sort through things slowly if a parent gets dementia, or you need to really make sure you don't send anything out of the house that you don't want to. Fulfill, not landfill, is one of our mottos at Junk King. We really the reason people use our service over competitors is what we do on the back end. So if we operated out of a small office and took everything to the landfill, we'd make a lot more money, but that's not who Pete was, that's not who I am, that's not who our employees are. And we actually right now are working with over 50 nonprofits in Cincinnati in different ways. So some of it is Habitat for Humanity or Matthew 25 Ministries, New Life Furniture. They take truckloads every single week from our recycling center in Sharonville. But some of it's just social media recognition or sponsoring a gala or a golf outing or just being involved in different ways, getting a team of people to go on a walk for Alzheimer's or whatever it may be. So we surround ourselves with good organizations. It's good for us, but also good people support good businesses. And so that's how we've been able to build the customer base. I think we did 20,000 jobs last year. So I think that stat is outdated. It says every year Americans create 250 million tons of trash. I think it's 300 million now. But that's just incredible. We're going to run out of space. Everybody knows this. So I'm trying to do my part, and every company that I don't believe any company that's not outwardly going green in some way or another is going to be the best at what they do in their industry. So that's just what we try and continue to push to our network, and it's been working as best we can. So when you walk in our headquarters showcase in Sharonville, as you approach 275 on 75 North, it's very hard to miss our building. But that's our headquarters, and when you walk in, we have a nonprofit showcase, which used to be my office. I got tired of people walking in and me having to stop with glass windows and them trying to sell stuff to me. So that's where my mind started turning, but I was like, what can I turn this office into? And that's what we made it. So we've got the logos of different nonprofits we work with. We've got literature about them, ways you can help them. And what I picture Junk King being in time is a field trip destination for kindergarten through college and Boy Scouts and Girl Scout groups, and where you come, you learn about the environment, you learn about philanthropy, you learn about recycling, and just make it a tour kind of like the Rumpke tour if you've been to their recycling center, just a neat stop. So maybe someday we'll host after hours or whatever was being mentioned before. These are some of the nonprofits we do a lot with. Matthew 25 Ministries gets all our handicap equipment, medical supplies, paint. So if your business or your house, if you're moving or downsizing and you have years worth of stuff or a parent passes away, instead of seeing all that stuff go to landfill, if you call us, we'll put it on, bring it back, we sort it and send them what they want. Child's Hope International, I had trouble internalizing this a bit, but I like to share it because it's so powerful. It's a nonprofit off of Kemper Road, and they provide meals to children around the world. I forget how many they did last year. I think it was like 8 million meals around the world in 1 year to children. And a stat they shared with me is 32,000 children a day die of starvation around the world. If you told me a year, I would be like, okay, that makes sense. That's still terrible. But you fill Paul Brown Stadium, it's empty in 2 days. And so 11 million children a year die of starvation. So we really try and get behind them and do things to help them out. If you ever are looking for a volunteer opportunity, you can go there and do buddy packs, where you go in and it's groups of 4. It's very COVID friendly where they made it separate and whatnot. But you can do buddy packs with your company and make it a company outing, or just with your family. And they're always looking for people to help. But a lot of those you probably recognize yourself, and so I mentioned New Life Furniture Bank and Habitat. They hit our dock every single week and take truckloads of stuff. The stories are the best part about what I do. I don't even hear them all anymore. There are so many. It's just what drives me. Because there's so many headaches in an industry where you're carrying refrigerators out of basement or tearing down a shed or place that are hot tub, that it keeps me coming in the door every day are the stories. So there's a couple of them right here from over the last few months. Honks for Jason. I'm sure some of you have heard of this on the news or seen it somewhere. Jason has CP, and he just gets thrilled. He starts clapping and bouncing around whenever people will honk driving by him. So he's sitting around different businesses and places around Cincinnati, and this started in August. I think we were his second or third stop on his tour, where they've raised over $10,000 for the St. Joseph Home in Blue Ash. Every honk is $1. So we lined up all our trucks one morning and had him sit out our facility, and we can drive through our facility. So he didn't realize it, but we were driving the trucks just in circles through our recycling center and past him over and over, and he was just loving it. And so that's a neat story. We were able to donate a lot to St. Joseph Home, but it's just that support. It's finding ways to be involved in our local community. And then Operation Ramp It Up. Greg there on the top picture to the left, middle on the bottom. He works at UPS in Sharonville at their main, on Canal. I think that's their main center here in Cincinnati. But he stopped in Junction. He's like, well, I'm hearing you guys everywhere. I'm reading about you. And I started this small nonprofit a while back, and I wanted to see if there's any way you can help me. Keep an eye out for handicap ramps. And I'm sitting here like, well, of course we'll keep an eye out, but we don't really, normally with a handicap ramp, that type of stuff is probably all rotted out and torn down when we take it and not in good shape. So while you're here, we gave him a tour of our facility. And as you walked out into our warehouse, you almost tripped over a handicap ramp in like pristine condition. Our employees took it apart and put the screws in bags, and it was just one of those things where we do sell some of the stuff we get on the back end. We don't advertise it, we don't hide from it, but we don't blare it on a speakerphone. But that's something we probably could have sold for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Well, he looks down, he's like, this is exactly what, I need this for our project right now, and absolutely, it's yours. So he got that set up in that top picture. He got it set up, and I believe in a home in Pennsylvania for a veteran who could no longer get in and out of his house, and sent us a picture, just loved it. So he came in to thank us, I think bring a thank you card and just say how meaningful. You talk about divine intervention, tripping over something I've never seen in my recycling center the day he walks in. But he came in to thank us, and he's talking about a handicap needing a stair climber where you can sit on it, and like in the picture in the bottom. And sure enough, the next day on our schedule, Julie was just working on getting a job scheduled for someone whose parent went into a nursing home. They didn't want to just see this newly bought expensive unit going to the landfill. And she hears him say this, and it was exactly what he was looking for. So that got set up. We went there the next day, and we, for free, picked it up with him, with our employees, and got it to where it needed to be. So there's just story after story after story like that, and so they're fun to share. Interesting finds. That's one question people will always ask me. What's the weirdest or neatest or smelliest or whatever thing you've ever found on a job? And I'd like to bring up a few things. We found we recycle paper when we get it from jobs, cardboards, books, magazines, paper. And on top of a paper bin, there was an old-looking piece of paper. One of my employees just picked it up and unfolded it, and it was a general's map from a very undocumented part of Tennessee during the Civil War. And it had coffee stains and blood stains on it, just history, and it would have gone in the landfill. You call our competitor, it probably would have been recycled had we not got lucky and pulled it off, but we preserved that. The golf cart came off a job, and we decaled that up and have that driving around our warehouse. The oversized giraffe, Jeffrey the giraffe from Toys R Us, when Toys R Us closed down, we went and shut them all down around the city. We have a lot of corporate accounts where third-party vendors that hire us to do things like that, and we went in and cleaned them out, and we're like, well, we'll make that our mascot. So when you walk out in our recycling center now, there's a 11, 12-foot tall giraffe that we dressed up in king attire. And so I know I'm talking really fast, too. I want to make sure I get it all in. How are we on? Okay. So a coin collection. This is one of my favorite stories. We find things all the time sometimes we can pinpoint where jobs they went to, but sometimes we do 5 jobs with one truck before it gets back, or things get shuffled. We call it processing, where trucks come back and we pull everything off. And we found in a bin a shoebox of just very rare coins. And we knew this family didn't mean to give this to us. It's ours once it's on our truck. And so we were able to track down the family. The dad got Alzheimer's. They 4 kids, full-time job. You don't have time to go back weekend after weekend and drive things to nonprofits or whatever it may be. And so we tracked the family down and gave it back. It was like a $60,000, $70,000 coin collection. And that speaks to who we try to be every day. And when we can't track it down, we find like wads of cash and things like that sometimes in jobs, not $60,000, $70,000. But when we can't track it down, we try and donate to a nonprofit, or we try and do something extra nice for our employees, and just try and make something of it other than just more money to the bottom line. So it's not if we get something, it's when. It's almost laughable that even at my house, when I need something, I'll kind of wait and look in the warehouse for a little bit to see if it comes in. Without fail, I buy it, and next day, we clear out a company that shuts down with 50 of them, brand new in the box. And it's like, so we kind of wait on things. But the reason I share that is if there's a nonprofit or a family or an organization that needs something, we might not always have it right now if you call, but if you want to email me, if you can be patient on it, we can almost always provide it, even if it's 6 months down the line. We have a list. My recycling manager just lines it up. So that's a neat aspect of what we can do. American flags we find on jobs all the time. Again, you call our competitor, they're in the trash, in the landfill. You back up and dump it in the landfill. You call us, we have veterans who work for us. We had to do a little flag folding ceremony. We take them to the American Legion to be retired properly. So you can bring them to Junk King if you have some sitting somewhere that you want to be retired properly and drop them off. You can take them to Boy Scout troops. I know we'll accept them, and then you can take them to the Legion yourself. But we're full supporters of our military, our services, and that's something we pride ourselves on right when you walk in our recycling center. So I don't go anywhere without talking about Dragonfly for a second. I'm on the board of the Dragonfly Foundation, and it's very important to me. It's one, I don't even know how I originally got involved. I think it was just a sponsorship, and then you talk about stories, the other end is stories. We did a radiothon with Warm 98 2 days ago, and I went down there to talk with Jim and Amanda on it for a second, and the girl on right before me, Marley was her name. She was just like, little kids going through cancer, they give you something that you don't know you have in you and give you the strength. And so to support families dealing with pediatric cancer, that's what Dragonfly does. If you're unaware, dragonfly.org, local. And that little girl right there, she's probably 20 feet wide on the trailer, but as you pass our building, I had a 53-foot trailer put up. And that's Elizabeth. That's one of the good stories. She's 10 or 11 now, but I don't know how well you can see her face, but if that doesn't give you courage to get through whatever you're going through, I don't know what will. So thank you for hearing about Dragonfly. And this is my family. We live in Loveland. We're local. My wife's a teacher. Well, now she's been a third grade teacher for 8 years at Little Miami School District, but now is the reading specialist for the district. And that's my twin daughters, Julia and Jordan. They're just turned 2, and then my son Jackson, who's 4. And so we have our hands full at home. Very blessed, but it's a wild time. So bear with me if it takes a year or two until I want to add anything to my plate. But the picture on the right was my little brother Scott's wedding in July. He just got married, and my daughters were the flower girls. My son was the ring bearer, and it was just chaos before we walked down the aisle. I mean, the girls were crying, flinging themselves, and Jackson was being his normal toddler self. And I look at Jackson right before we walked through the doors. I said, "You like cookies, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "I'll give you 1 cookie if you get Julia down the aisle. I'll give you 2 if you get Jordan down the aisle." He looked at me with determination like you've never seen, grabbed Julia's hand, grabbed Jordan's hand, and just started pulling them down the aisle. And so that's a fun picture. That's right before I think he put his head down. And then our dog, if you're an animal person, that's our dog Boca there. So always like to share them. Very blessed with them. And so I think that's the end of what I have. I try to keep it where I needed to, but normally people do have some questions. If you don't think of any now, feel free to email me, call me. My email is up there, and so I'll open it up to any questions. Thank you for your attention. Hopefully it was entertaining for you. And if there's any groups that you're involved with other than Rotary that you feel I would bring a good speaker opportunity to, I'd be glad to do so. It's obviously great for my business, but it's just talking about the Child's Hope International and the things Matthew 25 Ministry needs and things like that really is a nice addition. So thank you again.
We can take 1 or 2 questions if you have them. There's Hux Miller.
Thanks for your presentation. Of course, we Americans have a lot of stuff. What would you recommend to us to sort of go through life with less stuff?
Well, first you call Junk King because you've already got too much stuff. You reclaim your space responsibly, and then go for there. But it's our kind of rule of thumb is if you don't use something for a year, I'm sure everyone's heard that. If you don't use something for a year, you don't need it, and there's a family who needs it, and you aren't throwing it away just because it's not trash, right? So if you hold on to it, you can call Junk King and know that it will go to a proper place, or drive it to a nonprofit yourself. But good question. We do have too much. I know me personally firsthand, but I have a few things to choose from when I walk into work in the morning.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's give Jack another round of applause. On behalf of your presentation today, we will give a donation to Rotary International for the eradication of polio, for which we've been working on for about 35 years now. So that donation will be given in your name. And additionally, we will give you a Rotary pin. Our year's motto is "Serve to Change Lives." So we will present this pin to you as well.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And I think we can do this very quickly. If past President Brett LaBarre could come forward, please. As he's coming, we have 2 meetings this afternoon following our program, and those are the Board of Trustees. We have a meeting today. It will be on the 4th floor in the Rookwood Room. And the Young Professionals, our YP committee, will be meeting in the boardroom 3 on the mezzanine level. I asked past President Brett to come forward because he did an outstanding job last year as president of our club through the pandemic. Let's give him a round of applause. Brett is an outstanding person. He was a great president, and I was given this award through the district, through District 6670 as president this year, but it represents what we did last year during Brett's year. And so I wanted to give this award to him to go to the Rotary office, but recognize Brett for his efforts during his president's year. And it reads, the Rotary Foundation, Rotary Club of Cincinnati, is presented a certificate of appreciation for its financial support of End Polio Now, Countdown to History campaign. Together, we will fulfill our promise to the children of the world and eradicate polio. This is 2020 through 2021 for our club, Club 17's contribution. I present this to past President Brett LaBarre.
I just want to say a quick word, which is we know one of the strengths of Rotary is that we are a team. And when you think about ending polio, and now it's, as we know, only in 2 countries, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and very tiny in terms of the number of cases, very close to being eradicated, that's been a 30 or 40-year team effort globally by Rotary to do that, with others too, with some other groups as well. So it's a really positive thing, and I just want to thank the club members here for your generosity and your perseverance that you have been giving to Rotary International Foundation to end polio now. And I want to thank Bill Shula, who's our club's RI Foundation representative liaison. Thank you, Bill. So thanks again, everyone.
Thank you, past President Brett. He's just a wonderful person and did a great job. And thank you, members of Club 17. It's because of your contributions that we received that award. And that's all we have on the agenda. Remember, next week we will have the Norwood High School Silhouettes as our program. So we welcome you all back next week. And remember our 2 meetings this afternoon. And board members, if you could please make it quickly to our meeting, we would appreciate that. We have a pretty full agenda. And also the Young Professionals meeting as well. Let's serve, continue to serve, and change lives. Meeting adjourned.